Welcome to this explainer. So we share our planet with a completely hidden workforce. These are unseen, totally overlooked organisms that are literally keeping our global ecosystem alive right this very second. Today, we're going to uncover the massive scale of these unsung superheroes and really dive into a fascinating world that works tirelessly behind the scenes.
Now, it's a classic mix-up. If you tell someone you're a phycologist, there's a pretty good chance they'll immediately sit down and start unpacking all their childhood trauma for you. They hear the word and boom, they're thinking of the human mind. But we aren't here to study the mind today. Phycology, spelled with a P-H-Y, is a completely different, yet absolutely vital scientific field.
Okay, let's dive into this. Phycology is the study of algae. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking. When you hear the word algae, your brain probably jumps straight to, well, ew, pond scum. You picture that greenish, sticky sludge sitting on top of a stagnant puddle. But we need to totally shatter that bias right now. The reality of what algae is and what it actually does is sophisticated and absolutely crucial to our survival. It is way, way more than just pond scum.
The sheer scope of this green world is just massive. On one end of the biological spectrum, you've got researchers studying microscopic phytoplankton. These are tiny, glowing dots drifting in the ocean that you literally can only see under a high-powered lens. And on the exact opposite end, they study giant ocean kelp, which forms these towering, massive underwater forests. And honestly, here's the truly wild part. That kelp can grow up to 2 feet in a single 24-hour period. It's just an astonishing range, from the microscopic to the gigantic, all falling under this one scientific umbrella.
All right, wherever you are right now, do something with me. Just take a nice, deep breath. Go ahead, breathe in and breathe out. Okay, now ask yourself, who are you thanking for that breath you just took? We almost always think of trees, right? Giant, sprawling rainforests. But hold that thought for just a second.
50%. Microscopic marine algae produce roughly half of all the oxygen on Earth. That means they are directly responsible for every second breath you take. I really want to let that sink in. By constantly pulling in carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen, these invisible, floating superheroes are generating half of the oxygen keeping pretty much every single living creature on this planet alive. It is a massive planetary engine of life.
So what does it actually look like to study these organisms on a daily basis? Well, let's look at a day in the life, which basically comes down to mud and flasks.
A phycologist's day is usually split between two fascinating extremes. Out in the field, it's rugged, it's messy. You are literally knee-deep in mud, wearing rubber boots, sampling freshwater streams, and doing critical monitoring, like tracking toxic algal blooms that can severely threaten local ecosystems. But then you head back to the lab. You kick off the muddy boots, and suddenly you're in this highly technical, high-stakes environment. You're tweaking flasks of glowing green liquids, extracting complex chemical compounds, and taking that raw nature to develop cutting-edge materials. Basically, taking wild data and using it to actively solve global problems.
And that right there is the crucial point. Phycologists aren't just observing these organisms. They are putting both micro and macro algae to work to solve some of our biggest global challenges. They're figuring out how to harvest specific lipids from microscopic algae to turn them into biofuels, creating totally new, sustainable energy sources. They're using those same biological building blocks to create biodegradable plastics, tackling the global waste crisis head-on. And they're even using large macroalgae as natural filters to pull heavy metals and pollutants right out of industrial wastewater. They are literally turning what people call scum into the ultimate green technology. Now, biofuels and industrial wastewater are awesome, but how does this actually impact you directly? Let's talk about algae in your everyday life.
You actually interact with their work way more often than you probably realize. Think about the last time you ordered sushi. That delicious nori seaweed wrapper holding your roll together? Yep, that's algae. But it actually goes a lot deeper than that. If you've eaten ice cream recently, you've very likely consumed special compounds derived from algae, like carrageenan or alginate. These are used as stabilizing ingredients to give ice cream that perfectly smooth, creamy texture. So, from your favorite everyday snacks to powering the clean energy grids of tomorrow, you rely on a phycologist's work every single day.
Which really brings us to a simple yet incredibly powerful truth. Phycologists are working with the ultimate tiny organisms powering our planet. We started out this explainer joking about childhood trauma and pond scum, but the reality of this field is just deeply awe-inspiring.
These tiny organisms are the engines of our atmosphere, the foundation of aquatic ecosystems, and very well could be the key to sustainable human technology. They absolutely are planetary superheroes, and the scientists studying them are just unlocking their true potential.
So after seeing how deeply algae impacts your breath, your food, and honestly your future, it kind of makes you wonder, what else is out there? Got questions about the green world? I really want to leave you with that curiosity. There is just so much more to discover about the natural systems sustaining us. Keep questioning, definitely drop your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to follow for more explainers as we continue breaking down the incredible science shaping our world.